Back, guys. Welcome to your first time here. I'm Vision Hero Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm giving you guys my review for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 13, JD. Now, Fear the Walking Dead is something you're interested in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, hit that bell icon, there to miss more Fear the Walking Dead content from me moving forward. Now, let's begin. So, this was a really solid, good episode in my opinion. I really did enjoy this episode. Now, this episode mainly focuses on June, Dwight, and Sherry. And we also got a appearance from this new character who I'm going to refer to as JD, similar to the title of this episode. Now, the reason I'm going to refer to the character is because we get to meet John Dorie's father, who is also named John Dorie, of course. So, for information, so I don't confuse you, and I hope you don't get confused by this, because I will be referencing John Dorie in this review. So if I mention John Dorie, I'm referring to the original John Dorie we met, the one that's June's wife. And if I say JD, I'm referring to John Dorie's father and the new character we met in this episode. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you, but I apologize if it does. So, like I said, it's a June, Sherry, Dwight, and JD based storyline, which is a very good episode. Now, you got June, who arrives at the Morgan's community and wants to check up on Grace. However, Morgan doesn't want her to beat her. He has like a grudge against her since she wasn't there to help Grace during labor. And she pretty much tells June to leave. Now, I feel like this was just a plot device here to just get June to leave and go off on the journey she went on. I feel like they could have done something differently here, where June went to gather supplies from Morgan. However, they didn't have any, so she went out scavenging. I think that would have been a perfect way of doing it, other than, the grudge Morgan has against her for not being there for Grace. That's just me, though. I might be wrong. But she goes down to where the oil fields were, looking for, stuff, supplies, gas, and stuff like that. And that's where she runs into Dwight. Now, Dwight had followed her after she left the community, and Sherry ended up following him. And Sherry is trying to get gas. You got June, who's just doing some investigating. And they end up getting attacked by this mysterious person who is revealed to be JD. And at that point, you got June, who is separated from Dwight and Sherry. Now, Dwight and Sherry go off on their own little side mission, which I'm going to get to in a few minutes. But you got June, who ends up running off, finding this motorhome, and goes inside and sees this huge wall of news clippings and everything around there. And that's where she meets JD, or John Dorie's father. So that's very interesting, and we get some backstory on him, and it's revealed that he, like we all know, was a cop like John Dorie, and he was tracking down this guy named Theodore Maddox, who is revealed to also be the leader of this doomsday cult. So I really liked how they made those connections there. Really cool. And you got him, who's kind of mapped out the area of where he's seen the end is the beginning branding, because that's pretty much Teddy's call sign. So he's been investigating that, and that's what all the newspaper clippings and everything are. Now, you got June, who has her own mission to get to the cabin, and you got JD, who wants to go on his own separate mission. Now, she eventually convinces JD to go to the cabin with her after she shows him another spot that is linked to Teddy. So they go off on the road. They're driving together, and they end up getting into a car accident after JD referred to her. I think it was sweetheart or honey. I forget exactly what it was, but it kind of ticked June off, and she crashed the RV and holds him at gunpoint, and he pretty much apologizes after that. Now, there's a kind of this big thing going around in the fan base, which I honestly don't know why people care about this so much. About her getting mad about about him calling her sweetheart or whatever. Did a whole women's rights thing. Look, I'm on that side. I don't like it when people call women that. And people are making this big fuss about how, it's the apocalypse, all this BS. I don't give a shit. Why do you give a shit? It's a TV show. Who cares? They just, yes, could they have done it a little bit better here? Sure. But I don't care. People need to get over this bullshit. If they don't like it, they don't like it. But, like, do we really have to have a whole online debate about this BS about her being called sweetheart or whatever? If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you're okay with it, I don't care. But I'm on the side of people who don't like that. But moving forward. They check out the RV and it's busted and they have to continue on to the cabin on foot. Now, meanwhile, you got Dwight and Sherry who are off on their horseback. Like I said, Sherry's looking for gas. Her horse ends up, being rushed too far, and she has to put her horse down. And you got Dwight who finally confronts Sherry. Because as we all know, she's been acting a lot cold and distant towards him throughout the whole season. So he finally confronts her regarding why she's been like this, what's going on with her. And she reveals the reason why she's looking for all this gas is because she wants to return to Alexandria to kill Negan, because she feels like that's the source of all the trauma that she's been through over the past year. And if she needs to get over that trauma, it's to kill Negan. Okay, I like this concept. I think this is an interesting idea here. But it also begs the question, too, what if she doesn't make it that far? What if she doesn't make it back? And even though we know, because we all know where that Walking Dead is like 10 years ahead of them. But from her aspect, what if she leaves and Negan was already dead? Or not there? What if no one was at Alexandria? What's she going to do then? She just wasted an entire however long it takes her to get back to Virginia. Like, it just was stupid. And again, like I said, I know we all know what happens to Negan. He's still alive. Blah, blah, blah. But it just kind of feels contrived. And you got Dwight who agrees to help her look for gas. And at that point, he'll help her. And then they'll part their separate ways, as you got Sherry who will go off after, to kill Negan. Now, while they're doing this, they end up running into JD's trailer. Now, once they get there, they realize the same thing that June did, that this guy was after Teddy, and they end up going and tracking down June. Now, June and JD arrive at the old video store that we had seen earlier in season 4, and again earlier this season, and you got JD who's reminiscing about his son and talking about why he left and how his case regarding Teddy consumed him so much, and that's why he felt like he had to leave. And I really liked how they used the whole videotape store to allow JD to, remember back and think back to John and his relationship that he had with his son. So I really like that. And you got him who ends up barricading June in this like room in the store and heads off to the cabin himself. Because one of the reasons that they were also going to the cabin is that JD wanted to get the other gun that belonged to him. And that's just pretty much a little bit I forgot to mention earlier. But you got him who shows up at the cabin where Virginia's second in command, Hill, was staying, hiding out. And you got JD who shows up, confronting him, telling him to pretty much get off the land. You got Hill who tries to push back and push JD's buttons, but JD pretty much gets into a fight with him, and you got Hill who nearly kills him, but you got June and Dwight and Sherry who show up and kill Hill. And you got June who rushes over to help JD, who is collapsed and is badly wounded. And one thing I really liked here is that when he collapsed, he fell right in front of John Dorie's grave, and he was he had his hand that's all bloody reaching out for the cross. I really did enjoy that. And then you got June who patches him up, and he wakes up, and you got everybody who's contemplating what to do next. June decides to finally open up the letter that John had left her, and which was a big focal point in the earlier part of the episode regarding June not reading his letter. So the entire group gathers together at John's grave, and she reads forward the letter that he left her. And I really liked how it was an apology both to her But it also connected to JD. I really, really did enjoy that, how he understood why his father left him and how it consumed him. And I really liked it. And I really also liked how they connected this to Dwight and Sherry, because this is the kind of thing that made Sherry and Dwight snap out of it, and she decided to stay with Dwight after all. So I really liked how they used John and June's relationship as a way to have Sherry stay behind and not go after Negan. Even though we all knew that was pretty much coming, I really liked how they utilized that focal point. And you got JD, who is also reflecting on what had happened, and at which point they all decide to head back to, Morgan's community and, help out and try to regroup there. So all four of them return to Morgan's community, and they inform Morgan about this information and tell him that JD can help, as he knows Teddy very well, regards in as much as the rest of our group know nothing about him. So I really like that. Again, I really enjoyed this episode. A really good, solid episode. I know people don't like June as a character, but I did like this episode. I did like the character of this episode. We got to meet JD. Great character. Great focal point on Sherry and Dwight. And just a really good thing overall. Now, the one nitpick I do have here, and I might consider it more of a bigger issue, is the fact that JD just happens to show up out of the blue in this episode. I feel like it was just a little bit too much of a coincidence here. Now, I've thought a lot of things go here, but I do think this was a bit of a coincidence. I mean, you did get some... You had John talking about his father in the first half of the season, then again in the mid-season premiere. So I guess you could kind of say they were hinting at him, but at the same time, it wasn't enough where you'd think, oh my God, JD's coming in, John Dorie's father is going to come in. So I feel like they should have had a little bit more of a setup there and just foreshadowed it a little bit more. I just feel like it was a little bit too much of a coincidence. On some points, I do think that it worked in a way, but the other half, I do believe it was a little bit too much of a coincidence. But overall, like I said, I did enjoy this episode. I thought it was a really good, solid episode. And if I had to give this episode a grade, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. There was a few things here and there, like I always say, just a tad few things that I didn't really like. John Dorie, JD showing up out of nowhere probably is the biggest issue I have, along with Morgan kind of getting mad at June at the beginning of the episode, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I did like the episode overall. Like I said, Dwight and Sherry was really solid storyline. Just overall great episode. But like I said, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Just for those two things that I had an issue with. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about the episode in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, that's my review of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 13, JD. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way you don't miss any Fear the Walking Dead content from me moving forward. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which is linked in the back section of my YouTube channel. As always, I've been Vision Hero Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.